Hello everyone, my name is George Vasiliou. I'm a guitar technician, a guitar maker and a musician. In this video today I don't want to talk about what I'm building and instruments generally, but I want to talk about that. This is like an accident that happened to me. It's more than a year right now, and in the beginning it looks like that it's the end of a career for a musician, but is it really the end? Let's find out.
Tis but a scratch. A scratch?
Let's take it from the beginning. Last year it was a very tough year for me. One of my family members was a really bad health issue, and all of us we were kind of depressed at that time of the year. I'm dealing with woodworking machines because I built guitars for about 20 years, and I never had even a scratch. I'm very careful. I never push the power tools to the limits. I always take precautions. But that day I was depressed. I didn't pay attention. It was totally my fault. And then it was the blade was running. I was focusing on something else. I turned my body, and I never saw the accident. I just slapped the blade. And then just a moment, like my life changed that day. So I had to stay away from my work for about 3 weeks, and in the meantime I stayed at home. The first night was like awful. It was the worst night of my life. I thought it was a bad dream, a nightmare. I used to wake up every half an hour. I was in pain, and I realized that it was not an accident, it was real. And the next morning I woke up, and I promised myself that I don't want to live that night again. I want to support my family. I didn't want to see other people suffering because of my situation or whatever. And I was trying to find ways to be inspired and become stronger and get over that. The first couple of weeks were really rough. I wasn't sure if I can be able to play music again, and I was trying to find something similar, other people with disabilities on YouTube. And at the same time I have to start making like plan B, plan C, plan D. I remember like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen to me? I cannot play guitar again, so okay, let's try to play slide, or let's try to play like a keyboard or something else. I never believed that I'm going to be out of music, but I have to adapt to my new reality and play music with a different way. I did some research, like I was trying to find like other people with disabilities, and there's not so much information, to be honest, and that's why I decided to make this video. My goal is to help other people with similar problems with me, and so what after 1 year actually my progress and what happened and how I feel today. It's like my first inspiration was, of course, like Django Reinhardt. The great Django, which in the 40s used to be not just an average player, but he was like a shredder, like one of the master guitars of the time. And he lost actually 2 fingers. And I was watching him playing, and I realized that, okay, if Django was staying at home crying and be miserable about his accident, he will never be Django Reinhardt. Eh? He will never be like the player that he became later. And that was the first thing that made me believe that I can make it. The second example was not even a human, not a musician, but it was a dog. By accident, I came across a video with a dog that he's missing the 2 back legs. Actually, he's missing half of his body. So that lovely dog is able to walk and play with his 2 front legs, and he doesn't care about the missing part of his body. All he cares is just be alive and be with other people, just be alive. And I'm not sure if if ever the dog realized that that his accident, or that he doesn't have like two legs. When at some point the camera did a close up on his eyes, and when I saw his eyes and looking at the owner and other dogs, wherever, seems to be so happy, and the dog didn't care about everything else. Just all it needed was just to be alive. That was a huge inspiration for me. But the biggest impact, and it was the moment that I realized, okay, man, George, get out of bed and start practicing. You can do it. It was the great Keith Jarrett. I always loved Keith Jarrett. He was one of my favorite piano players, but I didn't know about his the stroke that he had recently. And to make this long story short, Keith Jarrett, like 5-6 years ago, I'm not sure, he had a stroke and all his left side paralyzed. So he's not able to move like his left hand, left foot, or everything else. And during the interview, he demonstrated and played the song with just one hand. And it was a standard, I don't remember exactly, but he was able to play the melody, chords, solo, bass, almost all at the same time. And I could not believe what I saw. By watching him, I became so emotional. I almost cried that day. And I could not believe that what he was able to do just with one hand. And I realized, okay, think that if he can do that with one hand, think what he will be able to do with 9 fingers. And I realized that you have 2 choices if something bad happens in life. The first is just to concentrate on the problem, and you can start be miserable and crying and say, okay, I lost 1 finger, whatever. Or you can stay on the positive side and you can say, okay, I have 9 fingers, what I can do. And to be honest with you, you can do everything. You can go to work. In my case, I can build guitars, I can be on my job, I can play music, I can be alive, I can be happy, and I'm keep doing it. And that's the important thing. And I would like to share a few of my experiences about playing instruments, but before that, there is one 4th example that I want to mention before I move there, which is my mentor. It's the guy, it's like my hero sometimes. It's this guy from The Black Knight, from the famous Monty Python movie.
Here's but a scratch. A scratch?
This Just a Scratch became my motto and my way that I see life. Now regarding music playing, most of the times I play bass. I play guitar as well, but my main instrument is the bass guitar. I'm going to focus on that today. But if I have the time, at some point I would like to make probably another video and concentrate on guitar a little more, because guitar is a little more complicated. You have to play voicings, chords. I cannot play bar chords anymore, so I need more time to share with you what I do and what I'm trying to do in the future to help me out. When I lost my index finger on the left hand, I didn't lose just 1 finger, but I lost my stretching as well. So I'm not able to stretch my 2nd and 4th finger, so I cannot play big intervals. I have to do a lot of slides right now. And at the same time, I lost my mute, because the 1st finger doesn't only play notes, but most of the times it mutes the other strings. So, and especially when you play with loud volumes on stage, it's very important to be as quiet as possible, because any tiny sympathetic vibration from the open strings or noise can be amplified and can make your sound to be muddy or not clear. And muting, it's something that went almost completely to my right hand, and of course my thumb. My thumb now it's like has a much bigger role, and I use it much more than I used to do it before. It's just an extra finger that can play some notes on the low strings and also can do the muting, especially if you have 5 or 6 string basses, like more strings. With a 4-string bass, it's a little easier to take care of things like that. But by adding strings, it's you adding at the same time like more noise, because you have more strings to vibrate if you're not muting them correctly. So muting, it's something that is very important, and I spent time on working on that when I practice at home. The thumb, it's like the second one that I use a lot, and I think I'm gonna use it much more in the future. The other thing that helped me out is like the size of the instrument, and I don't wanna go into details, but there is something on a string instrument that's called the scale length. And what is the scale? The scale, it's the length of the open string that starts from the bridge up to the nut. So traditionally, the standard somehow scale length for an electric bass is 34 inches, and anything longer than that is called like extra long scale. From about 33 and 32 inches, it's called like the medium scale, and less than that, 31 and 30 and 29, whatever, it's called like the short scale. So I work as a guitar tech in a big music store in Canada, and I'm lucky because I have access to hundreds of instruments. So at the beginning, after my accident, I start trying different instruments to find out what works better for me. I realized that I need something with a shorter scale, so I may be able to play like intervals, like with much more like with less stress and much to be like easier for me. I try a couple of really short scale, like the Beatle bass, 30 inches. That looks great. They work great, but somehow they feel like a toy to me. I don't feel comfortable. And at some point, I came across like a commercial, not an expensive instrument. You don't need an expensive instrument, not even a custom instrument to do something like that, because right now on the market there are so many choices regarding the number of the strings, the scale, and whatever you can imagine in any price range. So I put on my hands like a commercial instrument with 32, and somehow it felt so good for me. And after that I built it for me, which helps me so much. The 32 scale, the medium scale, helped me so much to play things with less, like easier than when I play with a standard bass. And this is another thing that's very important, and you have to think about the scale length. The other thing that that may work for you, it's another tip. It's you can try to play with an instrument with the strings upside down. I was watching a great player, a funk player, and a few other guys. I think his name is Mono Neon. He's a great funk bass player. He plays amazing. He's virtuoso player. He can play slap, fingerstyle, everything, but the strings are upside down. And I watching him on YouTube, and I was excited and said, wow, what this guy is doing. And I grabbed like a lefty from the wall and start practicing a little bit, and that may work. Like actually, that can work great, because if you have like a small part of the finger, still it's usable. But I can use like I call it my baby finger right now. I can use the baby finger just on one string. So if I have the low string at the bottom, that can be part of my playing. I can play bass lines with that. That's an idea that may work, but for me, I didn't stay so much because I don't have time to practice. I have to learn all the arpeggios of the scales of the chords, like upside down, and I'm so busy with my everyday life that I don't have extra time to spend and relearn something. But definitely something that I believe that can work, and I may be able to spend more time in the future. One more thing. What I'm doing right now and helped me out a lot, it's playing with, I try to use the open strings as much as possible, the same idea with the double bass. The double bass players, because they don't have frets and they always need the open strings as a reference, and also because the scale is big, they use a lot of open strings on the playing. So practicing on the first position and using the open string, sometimes it's like using the missing finger. The scales, if you learn to play with just fingerings, like the pentatonic on bass is like 1-4, 1-3, 1-3, 1-3, and then you can move it. You can play with patterns or like visual patterns. It's easy, but when you have to play with open strings, this is a little different. But it's worth the effort to spend some time because I can play much more complicated things on the first position faster. The other thing that I'm trying to do right now, but it's hard, I guess I have to work more, it's again, I borrow the idea from the double bass players. I use my thumb position, so I use my thumb, sorry. After the 12th fret, I'm able to use my thumb as in the place of the index finger, so I can have 3 fingers on the same string, so it can be easy for me to play scales and arpeggios. One more thing, I'm not very good, but I see some progress. It's like I'm working with my 2 hands, like with tapping, and it's fun for me. I'm also discovering new possibilities. What you can do with an electric bass using both fingers. You can play like a song, you can play melody, chords, whatever. And the last thing I'm gonna do, and probably in the future I'm gonna be back with another video, is I'm gonna work with some kind of prosthetics and prosthetic fingers. So I just got a 3D printer, have some ideas on my mind. I have to make some prototypes, and if that work, I will be more than happy to share all my progress and my thoughts with you again. This is it pretty much for today. Remember, just if something bad happened in life, it can be just a scratch. It's up to you. Don't concentrate on the problem. Try to see the positive side, and till next time, take good care of yourselves.